All right, here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Thursday, January 9th, as it is Packers week for the Eagles. Here's what we have coming up. Philadelphia making a couple of roster moves. We have a Jordan Love injury update, and Jalen Hurts has now practiced back-to-back days for the Eagles, and all signs point to him playing in this wild card matchup against Green Bay on Sunday. Before we talk about all of this, let's get to this. We are almost to 98,000 subscribers. And on yesterday's show, we picked up 113 new subs. Welcome on board to all of the real ones. Today, can we beat that number? And if we do, I have a big feeling that we're going to be able to get to 98K, which means during our watch party on Sunday, there is a chance that we reach that goal that I've had in mind all throughout the 2024 season, which is getting to 100,000 subs so that we can get that silver plaque from YouTube. So if you want Eagles coverage every single day year-round, and anytime I'm in front of this camera, on this microphone, I want to give you shows that are informative, insightful, entertaining, thought-provoking, then lock us in and hit that sub button right now and join the movement right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So a few things that I want to run through here on today's show, as I said from the jump. And let's begin here. I did a full video on this last night, but the Eagles yesterday signed Lewis Cine. I think this is an interesting signing for a variety of reasons, and this is one of the roster moves that they have made this week. They also added Ian Book back to the practice squad, let go of Mekhi Garner, and then we have an update on Byron Young, and we're going to talk about all of that and a lot more. Some people might be concerned, by the way, about Ian Book being added back to the team, and they might say, uh-oh, they're bringing back an emergency quarterback. Are they not confident that Hurts is going to be able to play? Hurts practiced for the second consecutive day. He wouldn't be out there if he had any ill effects from that concussion. But if you missed last night's show, seen the 32nd overall pick by the Vikings in 2022, still a young player, and he's another Georgia player who the Eagles are bringing onto this roster. And the Philly Bulldogs have yet another addition from Athens to the city of brotherly love. Lewis Cine, the most recent addition. The Eagles drafted Jordan Davis in the first round, Nakobe Dean in the third round, and then the two first-round picks from 2 drafts ago in 2023 in Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. Fantastic to see the latter 4 players who the Eagles took out of Georgia making big leaps here in 2024. It's a big reason why that Eagles defense is the number 1 defense in the National Football League. Of course, you can't forget about Keely Ringo, who, if he were to have come out and entered the draft before he did, he probably would have been a first or a second round pick. He returned to school, and then the Eagles took him a couple of years ago. And while he hasn't necessarily gotten a lot of cornerback reps here in 2024 after being drafted in 2023, he has been a very good special teamer. Last year as a rookie, I did think that he played pretty well in spot duty, and I think that as Darius Slay gets a little bit older, look out for number 22 to be a factor at that cornerback position for the Eagles. He's physical, he's long, he has good size, and really good speed. As for Cine, if you don't know his path, here's a little bit of a refresher, and this is why his NFL career hasn't worked out thus far. He suffered a compound fracture as a rookie in his leg that limited him to just 3 games, and then he appeared in just 7 games in 2023. So he's played in just 10 defensive snaps in his career, but 118 special teams snaps before the Vikings waived him prior to the 2024 season, latched on with the Buffalo Bills, and I think that potentially he could have a little bit of a special teams impact for the Eagles, and they're adding him to the active roster. Still only 25 years old. Pretty good size at 6'2", 199 pounds. That 32nd overall pick in the 2022 draft, won a national championship at Georgia. He has played with all of the current Georgia Bulldogs on this Eagles roster while they were in Athens playing in the SEC. He won the college football playoff national championship, defensive MVP. Georgia might not win that game if he's not on that back end. I do like how the Eagles can get him for an entire offseason. We saw the huge leaps that those Georgia Bulldogs players have taken from last year to this year, or even from a couple of years ago in the case of Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean, all the way to 2024. could the same thing happen with Seam? That special teams impact right here, I think the familiarity can help him. He even said it's like a reunion, being able to play with all of these Georgia players, and this coaching staff under head coach Nick Sirianni does a great job of really developing players, and Seam could be a byproduct of the Eagles player development program. And so this is what Howie Roseman really likes to do. The Eagles like to invest in players when they're getting second or third chances who have draft pedigree, because the Eagles believe with their own evaluations, with the evaluations of other teams, that they can extract the best out of those individuals, that they can maximize and develop some of those players. And then they reap the rewards and the benefits of if they can get those players on track. And for all of those reasons, I think players across the NFL know this, that when they sign with Philadelphia, when they get drafted by Philadelphia, they will be developed. The Eagles have a great culture. They're going to enjoy playing the game of football. And I've been so fortunate at 32 years old that since I was born in 1992, rough years, fell in love with the Eagles in like 95, 96, but really since the turn of this century, Philadelphia's been one of the most winningest teams across the entire National Football League. Another roster move here. The Eagles did open up the practice window for defensive tackle Byron Young, and some of the same things that I said about Lewis Cine apply here for Young. This is another player who went to a marquee college program, and I think Howie Roseman had a change in tune after the Jalen Reagor miss. He took Jalen Reagor out of TCU instead of Justin Jefferson out of LSU, and Howie throughout his tenure has made some questionable picks, and he's whiffed on players because he's trying to be the smartest guy in the room and try to get that diamond in the rough. Howie has learned. Get the dudes from Alabama. Get the dudes from Georgia. Get the dudes from these big-name college programs because they're ready to play at the NFL level. And I've talked about this. When you play in a pressure cooker like Georgia, Alabama, LSU, some of these big-time programs, Oklahoma for Jalen Hurts, you come to Philadelphia from those college-crazed towns, Philadelphia's nothing. They're used to the pressure. More on Young here. Suffered a hamstring injury. That's why he was on injured reserve. He's still only 24 years old. 6'3", 291 pounds. He only lasted with the Raiders for a year. Disastrous pick by Las Vegas. Third-round pick 2 drafts ago. And already, he's on another team. He was at Alabama from 2019 through 2022 and a college football playoff national champion in 2020. Keep in mind, Milton Williams is going to be a free agent after this year. Moro Ajomo in 2 off seasons. And so if the Eagles can get Young on the right track, a little bit of a lighter defensive tackle, he could help replace those players in a cost-friendly fashion. So you notice that theme. Lewis Cine, Byron Young, other players that Howie Roseman has taken chances on. He'll take chances on players with high draft pedigree because he trusts this coaching staff and this organization to develop those guys. Before we continue to move forward on today's Philadelphia Eagles, now a programming reminder, and I can't wait for Sunday. I've been sick over the last couple of days trying to save the voice. That's why we didn't go live this week. But coming up on Sunday, the NFL playoffs are here, and the Philadelphia Eagles will be playing host to the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round, and we will be going live, myself and Chip, for a watch party with an hour-and-a-half pregame show. Once the game gets underway, live play-by-play, audience interaction, super chat giveaways, instant reactions. We'll do a post-game show as well, hopefully celebrating the Eagles punching their ticket to the divisional round. So our show gets underway. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Be sure to hit that sub button. So far, we talked about Philadelphia making those roster moves. Still to come, only starting to take flight here on the show. We have a Jordan Love injury update and Jalen Hurts looking sharp at Eagles practice in back-to-back days. Our sponsor for today's Eagles Now, our friends at Fume. You can scan the QR code. We're also going to tell you about the link that you can utilize to your advantage because Fume is a great product, and let me tell you more about what they have to offer. 2025 is here, and it's time to kick your bad habits, and Fume is here to help you do that. Have you heard that the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of today's show, Fume, an award-winning flavored air device that draws flavor to your mouth, not your lungs. It's a great way to satisfy your oral fixation with non-toxic flavors. Free from nicotine or vapor, it's safe to use anywhere. Its design, too, is also about more than just flavor. It's an awesome fidget tool with magnets and clicks that help calm anxiety. You'll love how Fume feels, premium quality, sleek design, perfect for taking with you on the go. My favorite flavor is crisp mint. It's refreshing and satisfying without any of the harmful effects you'd associate with other habits. I'm very particular about my health and the things that I take into my body, and Fume is also cost-friendly, a third of the cost of your bad habit. So Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today. And if you order the Journey Pack now, using my code ChatSports, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on your screen. One more time, tryfume.com/chatsports. Scan the QR code that you currently see on your screen. Use that code ChatSports to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today. Justin, you can pop me full screen, and we'll move forward on today's show. Still to come, I want to get to a Jordan Love injury update, Packers being a little bit mum about that, and then to the latest on Jalen Hurts, as this continues to be a marquee storyline for Philadelphia all week. In the meantime, I can give you some information about A.J. Brown as well. A.J. Brown was taken off the practice field yesterday at the link after about 10 minutes, and then he wasn't seen at Eagles practice today. This is all believed to be a part of the knee management program for Brown so that he can play in this game on Sunday against Green Bay. The expectation, like it is with Jalen Hurts, is that QB1 and wide receiver 1 are going to play in this ballgame. As for Jordan Love, he injured his elbow and his funny bone in Week 18 against the Chicago Bears, and then he did not return in that football game. And after the game, he had said, I think I'm going to be able to play against Philadelphia in the first round. Matt LaFleur had said, we got him out of the game due to a precaution. But on Wednesday, when the media attended the portion of Packers practice that they were able to see, the Green Bay Packers were very intent to not let media members see Jordan Love throw the football. So we're not really sure how Jordan Love looked, how much he threw, what he did. Matt LaFleur had said that he threw in a very limited fashion, and I'd say that the injury status of Love is maybe a little bit more murky as compared to the injury status for quarterback Jalen Hurts. So going into Sunday's game, you were going to see two teams whose quarterbacks are injured right now, and their statuses are a little bit up in question. As for how Jordan Love fared in 2025, and Love did say, by the way, quote, we'll see, I'm hopeful that I'm going to be able to play. Love in 2025 wasn't as good as he was last year when the Packers really caught fire from the midway point of a year ago up until the end of the season. And then Love helped lift Green Bay to that win over the Dallas Cowboys in that 7-2 game, and then nearly lifted Green Bay to a win over the number 1 seeded San Francisco 49ers. Still a solid year, but didn't take that leap that a lot of people were anticipating. The defense was better. The run game was better. The offensive line was really good. He did miss some time after that season-opening loss to Philadelphia, but still, the number's just okay. 63% completion rate. He threw for less than 3,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 picks. He could throw some bad picks from time to time. 8 yards per attempt and a passer rating of 96.7. It's going to be really important for the Eagles to start fast in this game because Green Bay, with their first quarter points, they average 6.4. That's fourth in the NFL. And then they drop off a little bit in the second quarter, 7.3. That's 14th. In the third quarter, they're 8th in average scoring. And then in the fourth quarter, they're 8th. So Green Bay comes out of the gates playing very well offensively. The Eagles, on the other hand, as we flip the page, they start slow sometimes, and they finish very strong. Philadelphia, 21st in first quarter scoring on average at 3.6. And if you let the Packers take a big lead early, you come out of the gate sluggish, sloppy, slow. That plays into the favor of Green Bay. Pressure then at home goes to Philadelphia, and then Green Bay can run the ball and rely on a really good ground game. What's interesting is that Jordan Love hasn't always necessarily started that fast. In the first quarter, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, a 93.3 passer rating. In the second quarter, 7 touchdowns, 7 picks, 81.7 passer rating. Then in that second half, he too starts to heat up a little bit. He has a passer rating of 107.6 in the third, 108.2 in the fourth. As for the latest here on quarterback Jalen Hurts, he returned to practice on Wednesday. He looked sharp. He practiced once again on Thursday, and once again, he looked pretty sharp. Now, some people are worried that the Eagles added Ian Book back to the practice squad. I'm not too worried because this was a part of the expectation when they let him go, that they were going to bring him back because they have to be sure about Hurts' status in this ballgame. Here's what Jordan Mailata had to say about QB1. I've been in this position before with a concussion, and when you miss time, you try and find ways to get back as fast as you can. I think he did a great job of dealing with that and coming back as sharp as he did today. I thought he had a phenomenal practice. Lane Johnson on Jalen Hurts saying he looked really sharp. It was his first time back full speed, and we had a crisp practice. He's been dialed in. He's been limited with what he can do physically, obviously, but mentally, he's sharp, and he's on top of it. All of these, very good signs for Hurts going into this wild card matchup, which I don't think is going to be easy against a very good and talented Packers team. So let's hear from you. What do you think about this game? Your level of confidence in a Philadelphia Eagles win. I want you to scale it for me from 1 to 100 and share your thoughts with me. And one more time, want to give a shout out to our friends at Fume. Justin, you can go full screen here so that the people can scan this QR code on your screen right now. Thanks so much to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Scan this QR code, use the code ChatSports, and get your free Fume topper when you order the Journey Pack today.